Welcome back. Alright, so I've worked on this a little bit, maybe an hour or two throughout the week. And you can see I've kind of created more of a disaster again. Honestly, I'm not super thrilled with this fuse box. One of the big reasons is that it only comes with the exact amount of connectors, these brass pins, the exact amount of terminals for that box. It doesn't give you any extras. So naturally I screwed up a couple, and now I need to come up with more terminals, or I need to unscrew the last ones that I messed up. Moral is, it's just kind of a pain in the butt. It should come with like at least a few extra connectors for each style you use. Unfortunately, it doesn't, so you have to kind of fuss around with it and make things work. I definitely went about it all wrong. If I was to start this over, you can see it's kind of a disaster at the moment. I promise I'll clean this up. If I was to do this over again, here's what I would do. I would take like a spool of probably 12 gauge wire, probably 14 gauge wire, and I would basically put terminals, I'd cut like 1 foot lengths of it, and I'd put terminals on the end of every wire, and I'd plug them all in, and I'd populate all of these little terminal spots. And then I'd run all of those wires out here, and I would just start connecting them. I would pretend that basically the whole thing had pigtails. And then I would connect the pigtails outside of this. Instead, I've just... Anyways, so yeah, that would be the smarter way of doing this. If I was to do it all again, I would probably do that. In fact, I might still do it because I'm just kind of pissed off about the whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've only had, a very short amount of time working on it this week. I think in about 2 weeks, I should have a full day here and a full day there. So I should be able to make a lot happen pretty soon with this. So, since I have no progress to show you, basically, except for my grumpiness, I figured I'd give you a little tour of this. So this is, I don't know if you can see the whole thing because it's a million feet long, but this is my 64 Chevy Impala convertible. I don't know if I've ever even kind of shown you guys this before, but as you can see, it has an LQ9 6 liter, and it is convertible, and inside you can see it's a 4-speed manual, and I made myself this little digital gauge holder that looks sort of like the factory tack setup, because the fancy SS versions and the cars with the big engines and stuff, unlike this one, they came with a factory tachometer on the dash that looks sort of like that. I just made this out of metal and it came out decent, but it has a digital gauge in there that reads like all the OBD2 stuff. It's actually really awesome. And then I can keep all my factory dash and not fill it with like odometer gauges, because I don't want it to look like a race car. I want it to look like a normal car that just happens to have an OBD2 gauge in the dash. So anyways, yeah, the story with this car is that I bought it when I was 15 years old, which is now 21 years ago, and I have basically been restoring it my entire life. I drove it for the first time about 3 or 4 years ago. I had to put all new floors in it because when I bought it, it was basically rotted beyond belief. And I replaced the doors, the quarter panels, the fenders, the floors, the sections of the frame, body mounts, tail pan, pretty much all the metal. So yeah, I've replaced most of the car. And then a couple years ago, I dropped this LQ9 in it because I got a good deal on it, and it was originally a straight 6 car with a 3-speed on the column. And after driving around the straight 6, I was just unimpressed by it and unhappy with it. It just was not what I wanted. So I got a good deal from a friend on this 6 liter. It's the LQ9, so it's the high compression, and it has L92 heads on it. and the LS3 intake. Edelbrock throttle body. So it's got a bunch of stuff done to it. So it probably makes, I don't know, 350 or 400 horsepower. It's got a straight 4-inch exhaust on it. It's a single 4-inch exhaust that goes all the way from the front of the car to the back of the car, and it sounds evil. It's actually kind of obnoxious, to be honest. I wish I didn't do that, because it is a little bit louder than I want. That being said, it does sound absolutely awesome. So yeah, that's sort of the story with this. I'm hoping to make it my daily driver in this summer. It's been a little bit tricky because I've been kind of working out bugs with it the past couple of years. But I've taken it to some car shows and stuff and had some fun with it. So this year I'm hoping to make it more daily drivable. You can see my stickers from 2014. So yeah, I'm going to pretty much just plan on driving this summer. And that's my game plan. So yeah, that is my 64 Chevy Impala. If you have any questions about it, or if you want to see more of it, let me know. It's got, it does have disc brakes in the front, and it has aftermarket wheels that look like the factory wheels. The aftermarket wheels work with disc brakes, where the factory wheels would have hit the brake caliper. And then, of course, I have, I don't know if you can see it here, but a dual reservoir master cylinder and power brakes. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome car. It's my dream car. It's what I've always wanted, and it happens to be what I've always had as well. When I originally got it, I wanted to be like Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and paint it like candy apple green and put hydraulics in it and some 13-inch gold Daytons and kind of hit switches down the street. And I actually did put air ride in it at one point, but I've taken it out since. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome car. I love every inch of it. And although it has given me lots of pain and suffering, it is my favorite car in the world, and I would never get rid of it. So yeah, that's sort of my 64 Impala in a nutshell, if you're curious. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any more progress, other than my frustration with this fuse box and this rat's nest of wiring. But yeah, like I said, I think in the weeks ahead, I should be able to make some decent progress on this, and I have high hopes that I'll be able to fire this up in a couple weeks. I think I've said that a couple times now, but really, I think in a few weeks I have some time off of work, so I should be able to spend a day or two here and there on it. So, anyways, that's all I got for now. Feel free to give me any questions, comments, or subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next time, hopefully with a little more progress.